the Super Bowl. They go.
And Word Radio wants you to party like a champion. That's right. We're teaming up with Brown's Family ShopRite to present our 4th annual Big Game Hoagie Making Contest. Friday, February 1st from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Brown's Family ShopRite of Island Avenue, located at 2946 Island Avenue. We're stacking the field with a live broadcast, hoagie making contest, featuring community groups using only the best ingredients from our family business partners, Dietz & Watson, Amoroso's, Hers, and Canada Dry. All your favorite Word personalities on site, and your host for the festivities, none other than the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith. Be in the building, and you could win a big game party for 10, literally just for signing up. You don't want to miss the 4th annual Word Radio Big Game Hoagie Making Contest. Friday, February 1st, beginning at 10 a.m. at Brown's Family ShopRite of Island Avenue, 2946 Island Avenue. For more information, visit wordradio.com or call 215-425-7875.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've messed up your daughter's haircut. Do you A, get spiritual?
Mom, where's the mirror?
Beauty is within. Oh.
B, find the positives?
Less time blow drying, more time texting?
Or C, show empathy?
Mom, you really don't have to.
Twinsies!
I kinda love it. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
My mom is stronger than anyone I've ever known. Growing up when life got hard, her strength helped pull us through. Even after her heart failure diagnosis, she remained stronger than ever.
My family's support keeps me strong. Together, we're rising above heart failure.
Heart failure doesn't have to steal your strength. For simple steps you can take to help prevent, improve, or manage heart failure, go to riseabovehf.org.
Hey, this is Bianca Ingram, and you are listening to The Lounge on Word Radio. Welcome back. You're in the lounge. I'm your guest host, Sincerely Sarita. Of course, you're tuned in to 96.1 FM, 900 AM. Shout out to all of those who are tuned in on my live, Sincerely Sarita, on Instagram, but then also who are tuned in via the app, right? So we have the Google Play, we have the Apple App Store. It's all free on either one. You can tune in either way. So just make sure that you download that today. Bars? Maybe? Ooh, you're not going to co-sign me, Frosty? It's cool. It's cool. Because you know I dropped bars. But I'm going to leave that there. Anywho. Oh, I dropped bricks. No, this weather is brick. Shout out to my New York folks. I'm flowing tonight. Anywho, all right, so listen. Tomorrow night we have this event going down. It's called Standing Our Ground. Gentrification and the Future of Black Philly. It's happening at the Barnes Foundation from 5 to 7 p.m. And there's this guy in the studio who kind of knows a lot about gentrification, but not even just that. Like, he's also the co-founder at this place, or this like company called Little Giant Creative. He's also a partner at this space. It's called Pipeline Workspaces. You can find that like in Center City, like directly across from City Hall. And then he's also the co-founder at the Institute of Hip Hop Entrepreneurship. Like, you know, there are hats and then there are hats. And he has them all. And his name is Taib Smith. Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
First of all, I was so hyped. He was so chill. No. All right. So how are you doing? Are you doing good?
I'm doing really good.
You're doing good. All right.
Comfortable.
All right. So for those who don't know, I know I kind of, you know, just ran off the titles and all of that good stuff. But tell us, like, for real, like, who is Taib Smith?
I am Philadelphian, third generation Philadelphian.
Third? Where's the fourth?
I'll answer that when the ice caps aren't melting.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a Philadelphian. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm a partner in the company you mentioned, as well as some other ventures. I used to be in the music business. I was in the restaurant business for a while. I'm an active Philadelphian, both in regards to business and civic engagement.
Gotcha.
I'm Googleable.
Google him. Okay, that's all you need to know. No, but so WURD has this event going down tomorrow, right? And it's delving into just gentrification and all of its many facets. You're involved in that in some way, shape, or form. Can you let folks know what that shape or form is and why?
Yeah, so my partner, Megan Denenberg, and I have a project called A Dream Deferred. You can find it online at adreamdeferredphl.org. It is and was a 2-month-long art exhibit. There's interdisciplinary. So there was a documentary portion. There was a data analysis portion from doing a GIS mapping of...
Wait, GIS. For those of us who don't know what GIS mapping is, what is that?
That's like basically like how your Google Maps works.
Okay, gotcha.
So doing a mapping and a historical record of the ramifications of redlining, which was the public policy that excluded black and brown people, but black people especially, from having access to home loans during the 20th century. So in the United States, there's a differential of about $100,000 to $110,000 in median income between black families and white families. And a lot of people believe that you create wealth through different languages of meritocracy or bootstrapping, or, you know, just if you get an education, obviously you're more likely to have a higher income or be into a higher echelon of the job market. But historically, what has created wealth is home ownership. And African American communities have intergenerationally been excluded from access to capital and the banking system to participate in home ownership. So now that the desire and the zeitgeist to live in urban communities has switched, you know, for about 60, 70 years, with the development of the suburbs, which were highly subsidized both by banking and by governmental policy. Now that the suburban rim is a population of people who have more access to capital or just straight cash, have a desire to move into what were traditionally African American communities, you have a tsunami of change. And what most people would consider to be a fair private market, if you look at historically, it's a system built in inequality. So often when we speak of gentrification, it's a synonym that means many different things to different people. So depending on where you are and the economic strata, gentrification can be used as a positive adjective. So for some people, you know, if you own a coffee shop or if you happen to have a rental property in a neighborhood that's developing, you use gentrification as something that's positive. If you have traditionally lived in a neighborhood and have suffered the intergenerational, economic warfare of the divestment in black and brown communities, the divestment in our education system, the overpolicing of those environments. Then gentrification is a very painful experience when you start to see people reap the benefits, both social and financial, from development, and you and your family are not able to participate.
Gotcha.
It's very painful.
Yeah.
So to frame to the event tomorrow, Sarah Lomax asked us if she could share the documentary that came from the Dream Deferred Project before the event tomorrow.
Gotcha. And of course, we got to shout out Sarah Lomax Reese, right? That's why we're all here. But I'm glad you kind of brought up the coffee shops, right? Scrolling through the news recently, stumbled upon BillyPenn.com, and they have an article there.
Billy Penn is actually headquartered in Pipeline.
So, first of all, that wasn't planned, y'all. That was just coincidental. But there was an article that was published on January 28th, so at this point, like 3 days ago, and the title was, "These Philly Coffee Shops Do the Opposite of Gentrification." And then there was this quote that we can create a lot of positive change. And so they highlighted just a few different coffee shops who are just impacting the region, one of which, shout out to Uncle Bobby's, right, uptown. They were there. They were included in that. But then I think they also had, like, Franny Lou's Porch, I want to say. Yeah, Franny Lou's Porch, and I got to find the other one. But it was basically just saying, like, how these coffee shops are creating a space and an opportunity for communities, new and old communities who are having to merge to connect. And I'm interested to kind of get your perspective on, like, I live in Brewery Town, so I really would. I've been wanting wisdom from folks who have seen gentrification, have experienced it. There's this feeling that you can't stop it. And so then what is your role? Like, how do you preserve, I want to say, like, what is / was, and how do you also embrace what is / maybe won't be?
So
that line.
I'm going to show my age, but as someone who's now an elder, I tend to speak in analogy. So, like, Uncle Bobby's is a fantastic space, right?
And black owned, so
and black owned. And
shout out to Mark Lamont Hill.
Mark Lamont Hill is, is a brilliant author. I highly recommend people check out his actual books. But I have to say, Uncle Bobby's is a continuum of something that has existed in the black community for generations. So when I was in my 20s, we had a place at 20th and Sampson called Crimson Moon. And that was, before social media, before the internet, but it was a space very similar aesthetically and in vibe. And the owner was an African-American woman named Coco. And that was our hub. That's where, everyone from, a DJ like King Britt, or, members of the Roots, or a lot of people who are in the house scene or the drum and bass scene, that's where you first met people. That's where people who were bartenders, who became club owners, that was the spot. That's where you found out about mixtapes. Or if somebody came in from out of town, that was the space people would tell you to come, get your feet wet.
Right.
Or get a taste for what the city was about. And I do agree that there are certain spaces that can be the intersections for an old interpretation of what a neighborhood is and newcomers. Oftentimes there's an element to new spaces that open in urban spaces. And this isn't unique to Philadelphia. I think there's a paradigm that grew out of the success of Williamsburg, where you can have, frankly, a Williamsburg experience in Michigan and Detroit and Midtown and and the Arts District in Miami, or in different areas of Chicago. You even go to like places in the West Coast. Like there's a certain farm to table, refurbished wood, beer, outdoor garden thing that has an unspoken element that feels like cultural erasure. All right, so it what I give a lot of respect to is spaces like Uncle Bobby's or Franny Lou's, and I have to say that it's almost like for my mother, who passed away like 10 years ago. But when the aesthetics and the colors of the neo-soul movement came around, to my mother, she was like, "Oh, that's cute. They dressed them like us in '76." So there's like
nothing new.
Yeah, there's like an unspoken rhythm of or things, come and go. But we've always had the need or desire for safe spaces. And I think it's really important for a new generation of people to, be proactive in creating those spaces and getting ahead of the curve of gentrification. Like if you have the opportunity to purchase a commercial space on a corridor that has yet to gentrify, like cooperative economics, you know what I mean? Like figure it out. Because to your point, the only alternative is to, just shrug and complain about it. If we're not proactive and being participatory and, the economic future of our cities,
pretty much
we know what the past has presented us. If we don't approach it with new, creative ways of being participatory and succeeding and building wealth, then if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you this much. Tomorrow we will not be on the menu. That's for sure. We're bringing together a bunch of people who are at the table. So just let folks know. Go ahead.
One other thing, Amy Full of Love, who will be on the panel, I'm a big fan of her work. She wrote a book called Root Shock. And root shock is the analogy of what happens to a plant when you move it from one pot or from one field to the other, and it's not able to get its footing, and it dies or withers. So in Root Shock, she explores different neighborhoods that have gone through the process of urban renewal, properties that were formerly African American communities taken through eminent domain, and then describes how what is a community through spaces is deconstructed through that eradication of losing, your bar, your juke joint, the spot you got married, the park where you used to have your family reunion, and similar to a body and a burn victim. If more than 70% of your body is burned, you have a very low likelihood of survival because your skin is your largest organism. So she describes through analogy how after losing so many different touch points, a community deconstructs. And how what we all are experiencing to some extent is root shock.
Is that? Gotcha. All right, so just in the short amount of time you've given so much insight, and I would argue so much more reason as to why the event needs to happen and why people should be at the Barnes Foundation tomorrow from 5 to 7 p.m. Yes, it is technically sold out, but yes, also you can get on the waiting list. So if you have not already, you can go to WURDradio.com. But I want to make sure people know how to stay in contact, at least with you, if not, you directly, the things that are most important to you, and definitely the documentary, A Dream Deferred. So let us know, like, where do you want us going? What do we need to be Googling right now?
So I would look at adreamdeferredphl.org. I would also recommend checking out urbansharejunkets.org. onWURD.com. That's another project we have, which is an interdisciplinary city exchange. We have a project in Kensington coming up called IFLab, which stands for Idea Factory, which will be a physical manifestation of the Institute of Hip Hop Entrepreneurship to a certain degree.
Okay.
Where we're working with entrepreneurs, helping them get their businesses up and running.
Okay.
And littlegiantcreative.com.
So there you have it. Make sure you tap into, that was at least 3 different ways to tap into it. But of course, don't move anywhere. We'll be back here on the other side. You're tuned in to the lounge on WURD Radio. And of course,
Texted me, called me an old head for shouting out Crimson Moon.
he just got called an old head by the station owner. I think that makes it official. Like, I don't want to say it, but I think she said it. You an old head. But listen, stay tuned. We'll be back on the other side. I'm your guest host, sincerely, Sarita. This is The Lounge. And yeah, don't move.
The Shamari Show. Fridays 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. on Word Radio. And streaming live on wordradio.com and the Word Radio app.
In America, the zip code you're born into can determine your future.